So welcome everyone. Good night. Super glad to have you guys here. We are about to have an amazing conversation and I'm joined by some amazing women and I can't wait to get into it with you wherever you are listening. We're so glad to have you. Really glad that you joined us. And, we hope that this is a meaningful conversation for you. This is the power of our stories, a conversation on vulnerability, visibility, and faith. I am Amanda Flood, a psychotherapist and mindset coach for minority women in business. And I'm so glad to share this space with you and the dope guests that I'm getting ready to introduce. If you are happy to be here, just give us a yes in the chat or drop your favorite emojis. If you find us on socials, make sure that y'all hit share because we want everybody up on this in the community. But so glad that everyone is here. Yes. I see y'all excited. Very, very nice. So today we're not just talking about stories. We're exploring the courage it takes to share them and its impact. And I'm thrilled to introduce two incredible women who turn their narratives into powerful business tools. And we have Monique Sinclair, a faith-based social media marketer and luxury candle maker and entrepreneur, Champagne Abney. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Good to have you, ladies. I am honored to hold this space with you, and I can't wait to hear all the magic that you bring to the room. And I am going to kick off and pass the mic to Monique. If you could please introduce yourself and share a bit of your story.
Sure, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super, super excited. So I am a social media marketer that caters specifically to faith-based business owners. And I kind of made that pivot like a little bit over a year ago. I had been doing social media management for a bunch of different small businesses over the years, but I came to find that a lot of Christian business owners really struggled to use their content in a way that was impactful and vulnerable and sharing their own personal stories to sell their offers or to sell their products or their services. And I was finding that faith-based business owners were incredibly shy about it and sharing the things that they've gone through to make them who they are today and what makes them qualified to do the things that they can do for other people in their business. So I kind of wanted to start by doing it myself and sharing all of the difficult challenges that I had growing up and even into adulthood that made it unlikely for me to become successful. And I wanted to share those things and share how I overcame them and how my faith was a huge part of that so that I could encourage those business owners to be able to do the same thing.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it was about starting and that it was about, not just for myself, but how can I also do this for other people as well. And I think that's what it's got to be in this space. Like, how do we support other people too, right? Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to kick it now to champagne. I'm just excited. Go. Tell us about you
Thank
and
you.
what you
Thank you.
do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am Champagne Abney. I have a home fragrance company called Champagne Wishes. Champagne Wishes came from me being in a place. I am a mother of two and I am a wife. And I found myself losing myself. I no longer worked. I tended to the kids. I was at home. And I found myself losing me. And I wanted something for me. I found myself dealing with depression and things. And so I wanted to figure me out what I needed, because I can do everything for everybody else, but what about me? I needed something to fulfill my creativity and things. And every time I would get ready to, do things, I lit a candle. It was set a mood, it set an energy for me. And I was just that little flame was like, hey, just that little bit of hope, that flicker of hope. And I was just like, I can do that. I can create candles. I can do that, I always like my house to look nice. I like it to smell good. And I'm like, I can do that. And it started off of something for me. I'm gonna do that. And then it became something bigger. And my husband, he's like, you're ready. And he pushed me out there. He took a candle to work and he like, it's out there now. It's out there. So you have to do it. And it all came from me trying to find something for me, finding a place for me. Where do I fit? Who am I? What is my purpose? What can I give back to other women, uplift other women of you can do this too, just the smallest idea you can grow and blossom it into something beautiful. And so for Champagne Wishes, I sell home fragrances. I sell candles, room sprays, anything to make your house smell good, to make you feel better about yourself, about your space, about the energy you bring. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And so many levels. I love that. That you're just letting your light shine and in such
Yes.
a brilliant way, right? And I love how
Yes.
your husband was like, oh no, you're ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He pushed me out there.
But
Yes.
sometimes, like that's what we need, right? Like we need
Yes.
someone that will be that push for us too. And I'm so glad that he did that. Just
Yes. Because I would have never been ready. I'd have been, oh, it's not right. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. He's like, you're ready to go.
right. And
You're
that's what we
ready.
do, right? Like not
That's
yet.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Oh, I love it. So for me, coming into this space of entrepreneurship, I feel like I accidentally got here, but I'm trying to not say that anymore. I think I came here because it was written into my plan and it's where God needs me to be. I have a private practice here in New York. I expanded into speaking and coaching women in business, and really because I saw we were just always in our head and tripping up over the little things and not doing what we're supposed to do or what we wanted to do. And really in the last year, that has really taken off, as well as hosting things like retreats. Champagne actually did our room sprays for our Purpose House retreats, and it smelled nice, y'all. Right? But I love doing things like that. And I love experiences like this where we get to hold space and talk with each other. But I only got here because I felt like I was slowly dying where I was. And I started to look for what else. I just knew where I was, that this just wasn't it. And I think as I look back at it, that was God really nudging me into my next position. And for a while, I used to think each step towards that position was a risk and it was scary. But recently at Purpose House, I started to shift. There was just like a shift for me where I realized that each step isn't a risk, but it's me taking intentional, purpose-filled action. And I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation today and that you ladies said yes, because I think more of us need to understand that there's more placed inside of us. And you can be afraid, but you still have to move with both, right? And if you don't, like part of yourself will die, right? You really start to lose yourself, right? But that's how I got here. But I would love to hear from, you guys in the audience. And if you are catching this on socials, feel free to drop your answer in the chat. because I know that taking action isn't easy, and sharing your gifts, your talents, your expertise isn't always easy. But I do want us to look at why, right? So I'm going to drop some options for you as to why you think that is. I'm going to drop that in the chat. And I would love for you all to respond, right? So there go your choices. So why don't we do it? Is it because A, we're uncomfortable, right? Why do we hesitate to be authentic and share our story? Is it because we're uncomfortable? Maybe we're uncomfortable with the attention. Is it B, self-criticism? Is it C, worry? You know, we always in our head, right? Somebody gonna watch us, what they gonna say, right? Is it D, the fear of rejection? Is it E, perfectionism? Is it F, being found out? Or maybe G, something else, right? And while you guys drop that for us in the comments, wherever you are, I'm going to bounce it back to our ladies to kind of get their feedback on this too, right? But oh, we got some double whammy answers. She said, BC and G, honey. She said it's a little bit of everything. But for you ladies, you know, do any of these resonate with you, right? And where do you think it comes from, right? And I open up whoever wants to kind of jump in there first.
I would love to go first because I could definitely say it's probably it was all of these for me to just get started. When you said that you felt like you accidentally ended up here, I could definitely relate to that, and not something that I also not something that I say often, but I really felt specifically like the fear of judgment and rejection, because for me personally, I had tried all these other different business ideas, running away from what God really wanted me to do the whole time. And so when I decided to go all in, I was so afraid of the people I knew in my personal life being like, oh boy, here's another business, another idea. Oh, here she goes again with something else. And I was afraid of not being supported by all of my friends and family. But as it turned out, when I just started imperfectly and not really worried so much about all of my content and all of my offers being perfect, the more I did it, the more I realized that all those people didn't really matter, because they weren't my ideal clients and customers anyways. And the people that truly deeply care about you will be the ones to support you and walk through the new things you're doing with you. But the people that don't support you are the ones that really ultimately don't matter. So it was for me a fear of not having support from the people in my life. But like I said, once you get going and you start to get support from people who do really want what you have, it starts to not matter so much anymore.
Wow. And that's powerful, thinking about sometimes it could be the people around us, even in our own family, that, you know, don't support us, maybe don't know how, don't understand us, but that creates fear for us. And those could be the very people that like hold us back too. I love that. And I know that resonates on levels for people too, because sometimes it really is family. Go ahead, Champagne. Which one stands out for you, honey?
For me, it was me being in my own way, just because I'm a perfectionist, like not being good enough. You know, there's so many other home fragrances out there. You know, why would people want to buy from me? What do I have? Thinking people won't care. It's like, okay, you do candles, and it's like, okay, so, and me not being sure of, is this something that I would love, you know? And I'm like, I spend so much money in it. Why not create my own, you know? And to be able to say what's in my candles versus what's over there and there, I don't know, you know, to be able to give that. And I just felt like people weren't going to support, because I'm like, I'm not a business person. I don't have too much background in it. And it's just me coming out doing it. So afraid of also failing. This is not going to work, or just even hearing people, you know, what they have to say about it, of, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that, the judgment, she's a mom, she's this, now she's trying to do a business and stuff. And it's like, can you balance all of that? Can you do all of that? Are you capable? And the fear of, what if I can't? And so it was just like, at first it was like, it's a hobby of, you know, only a couple people knew, not a lot of people knew I had all this candle stuff. Nobody knew but a couple family members, and they were excited for me. And I'm like, I can't do this. People, I'm gonna mess somebody's house up. Just, it's not gonna they're not gonna love it. And it's like, just to have a supporting husband to be like, you're ready, you're going out there, go, you did everything you need to do, go, push me out there. Because if it was up to me, I would still be hiding, hiding. Just, I may post a picture here or there, but you won't see my face. And I hide behind my pictures of my candles. Even still now, I hide because I'm afraid, to put myself out there. I'm afraid to go live. I'm afraid to speak out here, scared of what people would say, the feedback I would get of, just, oh, she's this or that. And so I get in my mind, but people need to hear, people want to hear. And I've learned that. But just that's still that fear of just, being ridiculed. Just, yep, here she go. She's selling something. Here she go. Don't nobody, we all going through that,
Right.
that
And
fear.
so real, right? And I appreciate that. Like, I feel like you are giving us like your full self too, which is super powerful. Because so many of us know that it's us. It's all the things that we think that we are or that we're not, and all the things that we say to ourselves, right? I see some folks here said definitely relating, recently had a big event, and most of their supporters were not family. Sometimes we think, that that's who it's going to be. Friends and family are not typically your clients, right? And they may start off, which is cool, but we want to figure out how to get to our real clients and supporters anyway. But it's so interesting to think that they could also be our barriers, right? But on the flip side, maybe we do have some folks that are supporters too, because like you have your husband that's out there kind of pushing you too. So you never know where that support is going to be. But thank you so much for sharing what really resonates with you. I think another aspect to this is culturally, we're often not encouraged to share our stories, right? We're taught to take care of others and not our needs. We grow up under things like children are seen and not heard. That was big for me. And I think that takes the power out of sharing away. Or sometimes maybe it's just life. Like, we come up in these dismissive environments where we don't feel like it's okay to speak up. It's not as welcome, or we don't feel heard. And I think when you're around that enough, it just creates like these limits for us. But it is critical that we learn how to break out of those limits, because every story serves a purpose. And I think we see that with, you ladies just here today, right? For me, this is why I coach on mindset, because sometimes we have to set our minds on things, on different things and on new things, to create new actions, right? Otherwise, we will continue to show up for the old things and we'll act there, right? You'll either live up or down to whatever it is you believe in yourself, or what's been spoken over you. Things like the fear, you can't do it, the criticism, the perfectionism, like those are all instructions for the limits. And we've got to learn to reprogram that. So we've got new instructions for showing up and stepping out of that space, regardless of how we got here. I really want folks to know, like, you are not your circumstances, and it doesn't define you and who you are. Like, you guys are bigger than that, and you definitely have more to offer, right? When I approached Champagne about this, right, she was like, whoa, I've never gone live before, but I'm in. And I love how even with the hesitation, you said yes. And honestly, I only know to ask you because I met you at the Mamathon conference. Shout out to Christina Garrett. And you shared your story, and it was powerful, right? Because I think I didn't even really see you and what you were doing fully until I heard your story, right? And I love how honest you're being about how you feel showing up. And I'm going to throw this question to you. How do you deal with that fear, even though it's there?
Currently, what I'm doing is I say yes before I can talk myself out of it.
Woo, y'all heard that?
Now I'm obligated. So when I seen your message come through, I said, "Ooh, that sound nice. Like, I'm honored. Say yes, say yes." Because if not, because the moment I say yes, I said, "Ooh, girl, ooh, you
I
finna get
got
on the
my
camera."
champagne
Like,
too.
yes, I'm like, I be hiding from camera. I said, "Ooh, But I said, you know what? I told her I'm going to be there, and that's the type of person I want to be. I'm showing up. I told you yes. So I'm gonna show up. So now I can't hide, because now you done seen it. You done seen it. It tells you, you done saw it. So now I have to show up. So before I can get into my head and all those thoughts kick in, if I like the idea and it's something I can be present, I have the time to do, let's do it. Why not? Just what's the worst case? I come on here, I meet some new amazing women. If not, okay. I got to come up here and share my story because that's one other person that knows now.
Ooh, that's one other person that knows now. Goodness, sometimes it's just that one, right? What about you, Monique? Like, how do you deal with fear? Because no one's exempt. It happens.
I still get nervous even when I do these types of events, even though I love talking and I love sharing my story and I love hearing other people, I still get nervous, but I actually do the same thing. I say yes before my brain can talk me out of it. I actually just made a post with that exact wording like the other week. I think it's important to not be impulsive with things that could be dangerous, but things that your brain recognizes this could be beneficial and helpful, not only for me, but for others. I do that. I say yes. And then after I've committed, it's like, I can't back out of it anymore. And I think about how I think about like past experiences, like every time I've been open and vulnerable with my stories, I've always gotten at least one message from somebody that was like, wow, really? Or wow, me too. Or wow, that really encouraged my faith. I can't believe, you went through this and that and you overcame this. So I feel like I can do it too. So when I reflect on everybody that in the past has been encouraged by me showing up, I'm like, all right, I can do it one more time. Let me do it one more time, because it's pretty much a guarantee that somebody's going to be impacted by what you have to say. So I'm like, I might as well get over myself, because I feel like if I'm going to wallow in fear, that's like self-abasing, and that's like not our identity. That's not who God has called us to be. We're not supposed to live in fear, and especially
Come on, Monique, tell him, girl.
I mean, if he's put something inside of you to share with people, like we cannot be it's almost in a sense like it can become selfish if we're governed by fear all the time. And so I don't want to do that. And I'm not always perfect at it. I drop the ball a lot. I screw up too. But I want to do my best to steward whatever it is I have that apparently people love. So I think everyone should do that.
Oh, so many things, right? So many things in that. And y'all gonna have to go back and listen, because I gotta keep it moving. But I love it, right? Oh my goodness, you're being selfish, right? That's the one that hit me with the 1-2 right there, right? And what I heard from both ladies was saying yes. So think about what that yes looks like for you, or essentially making the commitment, because it's harder to get out of it then, right? So maybe it's saying I'm going to go live. Maybe it is signing up for an event. Maybe it's registering for a course, because once it's out there, you've got to get ready for it. So by the time all the fear kicks in, it's like, okay, now we have to know how to figure it out, because we've already committed to the thing. So that was a great strategy that they both shared right there, right? I'm gonna drop one more in your bucket for you, and that is, you can coexist with fear. We don't have to get rid of it. We don't have to wait for it to go away, because it honestly really shouldn't. It's really there to kind of keep you safe. It just kind of goes bazonkers sometimes, right? So try to make it your friend. Give it a name. If you had to name your fear, what would it be? Right? Give it a color, give it a shape. And when it shows up, say hello, right? Like, what's up, Bob? Why are you here today, boo? Right? And let it know how you feel about it, because maybe it's there to give you information. And part of our issue is we get so uncomfortable that we peace out and we avoid it. And I get it. Most of us, we don't want to feel the difficult things, the rejection, the hurt, the disappointment, the fear. So we get very good at navigating that, at avoiding that, right? But you might be missing out on some really good information. And then I think most importantly, I think when we push it away, that's us invalidating ourselves, just like everyone else may have invalidated us too, right? So you are making yourself just as small by saying that doesn't matter what I feel, just like people in your life that might say what you're doing doesn't matter, or you don't have space here, or we don't want to hear you, right? Or it's about everybody else. So you want to be careful with your own feelings and experiences, that you're not minimizing yourself too. So I want you to know those feelings are okay. make room for it, become friends with it, give it a name, and just decide how you want to respond to it, right? It's not that I don't need to deal with it at all. It might be right now. It might be saying like, oh, I know you're afraid, but that's because we're about to do something amazing. And that's okay. It might mean, you know, I know that you're hurt, but that's okay. It's because you care. And that makes sense. And sometimes just by acknowledging it in that way, it'll absolutely go away, and it won't feel so intense and so bad. And you learn that you can handle it, right? The more you show up, we learn that we can handle it, right? I used to be super nervous going live and doing those things, and I still get a little bit nervous, but the more that I've done it, it's just so much easier now, right? And I think Monique really shared that too. So keep going for yourself, and for that, if it's just that one person, right? Like Champagne said, that that it hits, like that's going to be powerful, right? All right, so let's shift to the power of our stories. So historically, like telling stories was really important. Like that's really how we conveyed information, right? If you think about things like going back to like slavery, like that's how we told you how to escape. That's how you got the plans, right? We had to really talk about it, right? Or if you think about, you know, Jesus, right? His parables were stories, right? And both, they just give direction and healing, and there's the potential for change and freedom in our stories. Before we had Instagram and books and texting people, we had our stories. So it was really important to share. And for some reason, we've gotten away from that. And I want to throw this to you, Monique, from a faith perspective. Why do you think stories are powerful?
It's funny you mentioned the parables, because that's where I got the idea for my company name, Parable Marketing.
I know.
And
Her name is Story.
I just love it so much because when Jesus told parables, like they drove people to act. And that's why I think that from a faith-based perspective, it's important to share our experiences so that other people don't feel shunned, they don't feel alone, and they feel like they can take action. They feel empowered by someone else's experiences, and it can let someone know like, hey, I can do this too. Like even the little bit I've heard from Champagne about how she started her candles and doing it imperfectly, even though she felt like she didn't know a lot. When you share that part of it, it empowers other people to feel like, wow, that is a possibility for me too. And when you throw your faith into the mix, it's like, well, if that's the case, if I have faith, then I can definitely move this mountain. If I have a little bit of faith, I can definitely achieve this because I've seen other people go before me and do it. And that's why I think it's important. Stories push people to take action. It's more than just saying like, here, what I sell you. When you back it with your story or a story, faith rises up in the other people watching it to be like, wow, that is a possibility. I can relate to that person. I've been in their shoes and they did something that I'm dreaming of. So why can't I step out in faith and do it too? That's why I think it's important to share, especially when you add your faith to it. It helps other people to build their faith as well.
Yeah, you said faith pushes you to action. Yeah. So if you are not sharing what that action could look like, maybe through your own experience and your personal story, because everyone is going to look unique. We all have 3 different stories of how we arrived here and how we do what we do, but each one is going to touch someone just a little bit differently. Right. So, oh, I love it. Champagne, what about for you? How has stories or your story like impacted your business?
Ooh. So sharing my story impacted my business. It improved it. It did. It touched so many other people. They wanted to support me because they want to see me do well. She's like me. She struggles with some of the same thing I struggle with. And so getting that out there, if she can do it, I can do it. And I want to support her. You know, I like what she's saying. You know, I may not like candles, but because she's doing it and I like her, she's relatable. I want to support her. I want to see her do great because she's the hope that I may need. She's that flame I may need to let me get myself together. Let me get mine out there. Me and her come from similar backgrounds, similar things. So if she can do it, I can do it. Why not? And for me, I love listening to other people's story, these books and things. I listen to them and I'm inspired. And I'm like, I feel like I can conquer the world. I got it. And it's to listen and get up and get ready to do it. And it's like, oh, I don't know these people. Just wait a minute. But to get ready to do it, it's like, okay, I'm ready. But then you hear somebody else's story of that idea. Let me put it into motion. She did it. And look what happened. She took that leap of faith. She jumped. And look what happened for her. I shared my story a couple months ago at the conference, and so many women spoke to me like, good for you. Like, I'm proud of you. It touched me. And I love that you shared that because, it made you more relatable. People saw me when I shared my story. Before, my table was there and it's like, okay, she sells home fragrances. But I shared my story and it's like, oh, she became real. She's like me. It gave some leverage to my business of, this is what she stands on. This is what she believes, I can do the same thing. And from that, I've had a multitude of women reach out to me just from that conference of, hey, I have this going on. Can you help me out? I have that going on. So for me, it has actually helped grow my business. And I'm thankful for everything, but it all came from me, from sharing my story, from people getting to know me. And I've had a young lady tell me, God told me I'm supposed to work with you. And I'm like, wow. She's like, I heard your story and it came to my heart up. I'm supposed to work with you. I would like to collaborate with you. All from sharing my story that I didn't think would, mean anything to anybody else, but it matters. I matter.
She said it matters and I matter, right? And connecting back to this idea of action where, gosh, even if you think it may not mean anything, like the domino effect that it has. And oh gosh, I love it. I love stuff like this because it does inspire you to keep going. And I think this is why we've got to continue to position ourselves to around like good people and good conversations. And even that's something to think about, like who's around you and what's the conversations that they're having around you? Because does it inspire you to keep going? Because I don't know how y'all feel listening to these ladies, and you can let me know, do you feel inspired? Right? Someone in the Facebook land chat said, oh my God, Monique is coming for me, but in a good and productive way. So I love it. But we have to think about that too. If we can't speak for ourselves yet, who's around us that's speaking over us, and what is the impact that we want to have, right? Something that I have coming up that I'm very excited about too is that we are going to be working on this too. So if that is something that you are ready to work on, creating impactful social media content through your stories and without the stress, I really want to invite all of you guys to come back and do that work with me later in this week. It's our social media impact accelerator. And the idea is to elevate your online presence, but through you and your stories, and peeling back the layers and allowing people to really connect with you and your authentic self, which I really think takes practice, right? So perfect for the entrepreneurs in the room. I'll make sure to drop the link and you could come back and take a look at that. But meantime, for Monique, our social media marketer here, what's the benefit of infusing more stories into creating content and really talking about what we do?
Man, there are so many benefits to it. So the first thing is, if you are selling anything, every single market is so saturated that the one way you're going to connect with people and actually help people relate to you and trust you and like you and love you and want to buy from you is by sharing those stories. When you help people feel a feeling, it is way more effective than just presenting information. Like, there's information everywhere. You can go to any store to buy anything and it's just specs. If you think of a computer, it's like, here's the specs, here's what's in it, here's what it does. But if you even think about Apple marketing, like, you feel, wow, that's luxury. Like, when you look at their marketing, when you look at their ads, whether it's on a billboard or a video ad, it gives you a feeling of what your life is going to be like if you purchase this thing. And sharing stories in your content is helping the viewer or the reader or the follower kind of envision things in their mind, and they build a connection to you when they are reading or seeing those things. That's why good visuals are really important, and really painting a picture for people. They could really connect to you on a much deeper level than just simply presenting information. That's why I don't really believe in like very pushy salesy content for anything, because it kind of repels people. People are tired of being sold to, and they would rather connect with the company on a personal level first, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think it's not us, right? I think there's a certain set of like people, personas, and folks, and when you come from a caring sort of place and purpose-filled, purpose-driven place, I think like the pushy marketing really doesn't work for us too, right? And I think that
Agreed.
makes us even more valuable. So, or our stories even more valuable and important, right? So, I'll kick it back to you, Monique, for a second. How do you plan to keep using stories in the work that you do?
Um, I mean, I kind of have like a brand story where I repeatedly will share that maybe like once a week in a different format, or in a different way, where I kind of share like how I came to be, how this business came to be, and how you can overcome your challenges to become what God wants you to be for your business. So I kind of like rotate through different formats for that particular story. But then I also think that it's important, like what I like to do and what I tell other people to do is to just be present and aware in your everyday life. Like unplug from the computer, unplug from the phone for a bit, so that you can become aware of what's actually happening to you and around you. And all of those things that are happening can become stories that you share in your content on the everyday, and relate it back to your business, so that whatever you're talking about doesn't become salesy and icky. It becomes more organic and natural because you're sharing from your everyday experiences. So just for me personally, I'm trying to just be like present and observant in my own life, because for a long time I wasn't. And I think that's why some of my previous business attempts failed. I was so one track minded and not really thinking about how to get customers to fall in love with what I was offering. And it was just like, here's what it is, here's the specs. Whereas now, being aware of what is actually happening around me and paying attention to my life actually makes a huge difference. A huge difference.
Yeah, and our business really starts with us. So if we can figure out how to tune in and be more present, it is what you're saying, right? We'll notice things, we'll learn things, we'll see like the lessons in everyday life that can become what we use for our business and what we do, because it all really merges together. Like your business doesn't have to be this separate thing from you. It's actually like a reflection or extension of you. So you should see parts of it in all that you do. Let's see. So Champagne, if you could give us one tip, and we're gonna wind down here. What's one tip you would want to leave the audience on being open and vulnerable about speaking up, or even just saying yes to themselves? What would that be?
It would be do it in fear. Push through, do it in fear. There will be at least one person who you touch and who you inspire, and just do it in fear. Just say yes before you can talk yourself out of it. So push through that fear and reap the blessings on the other side.
Whew. Yeah. Do it in fear. Oh, so good, ladies. Please let everyone know where they can find you and follow you. I'll make sure to double back and like drop all the links and stuff, but please let them know where to find you. Let's see. Monique, you want to go first?
Sure. I am primarily on Instagram and TikTok. I'm just Parable Marketing. That's my handle on there.
Speaking of hair and Champagne.
My website is champagnewishes.com. Champagne is spelled CHAMPAINE, wishes, WISHES.com. And I can also be found on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Champagne Wishes Candles.
Beautiful. Just lovely. And I'm at Amanda.Flood on Instagram and Facebook. Shout out to the Mindset and Motivation community for women entrepreneurs of color. Thank you, all you guys in the audience. Hope to see some of you guys in the accelerator. But either way, more importantly, or most importantly, I hope to see all of you sharing more of your stories. There's value in your voice. Your story draws in people, right? There's action that's going to happen because of what you decide to do, because of the yeses that you take. And we can really have a larger impact in what we do in this life if we just show up and talk about us and our experiences, right? Thank you again, ladies, for being here. Special thank you, Monique and Champagne. So great to hold space with you guys. Thank you, everyone. And good night. Take care, everybody.
Bye. See you guys.